United are through to the quarter-final of the FA Cup for only the second time in 18 years. Lee, plenty to be positive about after that.
I'm always Mr. Positive. Positive as they got through. Martin Dubravka was excellent, the hero tonight in the shootout. But I've got to say, I'm trying to be positive, but I come away from Ewood Park this evening feeling like there's more questions than there's ever been about that Newcastle United team and performance and system and personnel and confidence. It's positive that their name is in the hat for the next round. Let's maybe stick with a bit of that. But I think people expect a little bit more than that from us. I think we need to maybe analyse some of the positives from that one, don't we? Maybe.
The positives from tonight?
Joke, obviously.
I just feel
Martin Dubravka was class.
He was class. But it was a bloody struggle that. Blackburn have probably come away from this tonight feeling like they've got the raw end of the deal there. Martin Dubravka kept Newcastle United in the game throughout the full. I struggled with this before. I was like, all four halves.
Yeah.
I mean, it was four halves, but it's definitely not quarters, is it?
It's not. Yeah.
Who knows? Talking rubbish again. Yeah, I thought it was grim actually. I thought it was a really poor performance. I think they look a team, particularly the defenders, look shot for confidence. It's a team that isn't really functioning at the moment. We're always here when the stadium's packing down for the night. It's just a team that's not functioning at the moment. Be interested probably, I mean, what was Eddie Howe's thoughts on it, more than probably my thoughts, which you can catch in the live, by the way. But I thought that was where I said, I'm a very happy person that Newcastle United's name will be in the next round. And I'm very happy for Martin Dubravka. But I think I'm quite disheartened by the manner in which Newcastle United are playing at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I asked Eddie Howe what was better from the Arsenal game tonight, because I thought in many ways it was worse than the Arsenal game when you consider the level of opposition, and Eddie Howe admitted there was a bit of a hangover from the Arsenal game at the start, but Newcastle grew into the game and got better, which I don't know what you think, Jordan, because I'm not sure.
I mean, they had a little bit of, so that first half hour they had moments of control, but I thought the second half was the opposite. I thought they had bits and bobs. Miggy made a difference when he came on. Livramento, in an attacking sense, although he was a bit shaky defensively, made a difference. But I thought they grew in confidence in the game, and when they realised they could start playing through Newcastle United and going over the top, then I thought they just looked the confident side, and the momentum for me from all the way through the second half and in extra time was probably with the home side.
Had the better chances, certainly in the first half. And then, as you say there, times in the second half as well when they managed to break through Newcastle. It was Blackburn almost building in confidence until Alan Ron came on, and to be fair to him, he's had his critics in recent weeks, recent months, but actually changed the flow of the game, I thought. By his introduction, great assist, showed real composure on the box, which he doesn't usually do, but it was a great pass to find Anthony Gordon. And then from then on, I suppose, I felt like Newcastle might have doubled the lead, but you know, you couldn't fault Blackburn for levelling up. It was fully deserved, and if you look at the night as a whole, Eddie Howe said that Newcastle's best period was in extra time. Said the first half was poor, the second half was better. I would argue that full game, I touched upon it before, I think Blackburn deserved to go through. And look, we're talking before coming on camera, I'm sick of being negative, but we can only judge performance what it is. And we could say the same what we did after Saturday in terms of it's the same concerns for me. Just fortunately they've ended up with in the next round of the FA Cup, and I suppose that's the only thing you can take in cup competitions. You just got to get through. They've got themselves 90 minutes away from another Wembley appearance, hopefully a favourable home draw. But
the way they're playing at the minute, doesn't matter who they get.
Well, that's what I mean. So
if they play like that against most teams left in this competition, they'll be out.
This time last year, everyone would have feared Newcastle, whereas I think
you felt they could beat anybody.
But whereas I think teams who get Newcastle now might actually fancy their chances.
You're right.
Even the Championship teams, because Leicester, let's be honest, are at the wrong end of the Championship. They were the weakest team left in the competition after Maidstone went out, probably. Coventry, you could argue, but Leicester through, Man City obviously through. It's going to be tough, but hey, we've had very little to sort of be positive about in recent weeks, so I'm going to take the positives tonight. Newcastle through, they got the job done, and Martin Dubravka got the job done, although I do agree it does raise probably more questions than answers tonight, because this was a chance to get the confidence back to actually show, look, we're a good team. It was just tough game against Arsenal at the weekend, but in many
we
ways
all know this is the thing. Like, sorry to interrupt you there, Don, but that's the point. That's the whole point. Recently, is that anybody who looked at Arsenal in an isolated case is missing the point and missing the picture, because this isn't isolated. It's a trend, and it's a trend that's been going on for months. That Newcastle United aren't, bar the odd flirtation with performances like last season, 60 minutes at Villa. Not many others, to be fair, but little bits here and there.
good against Man City for the most part.
Yeah, probably 70 minutes against Man City. But the rest of it's been a long way off where people expect.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we've been, as I say, we've all been critical over the last few weeks, and we could sit here and do another 20-minute video being critical, but I don't think people probably want to listen to that. I don't know. You could,
Do they? I don't know. Do
we
people
could just
want-
end up pinpointing every other video we've done
You
before
can
this.
just go back and look
Go
at
back
all
to
of our
Arsenal,
videos.
yeah.
Look
And
at
then- and
Arsenal.
it'll be the same.
Look at me and Jordan previewing this game. It's just more the same, although in some cases we saw Jamal Lascelles come back in the side tonight after 2 months out. Me and Jordan were pushing for him to come back. Sven Botman rested tonight.
Elliot Anderson back, scored a penalty.
Yeah.
Well, the positives
Did
is
all
they
right.
actually
That's a positive.
had a strong bench tonight, but
And it
we're
made
not going to that.
it made a difference.
They had a strong bench. They had a £38 million summer sign on there. They had
we're
Pearson, Team Livramento, a £35 million summer signing. They had Elliot Anderson to come on. So there was
I thought Lewis
there was
Miley came
personnel
on
on the bench.
and was
And so
unlucky
that was
to
one
come
question.
off.
One question I posed in the live, if you go back to it, was I asked everybody out there what their thoughts were on the substitution of Lewis Smiley. And to be fair, a lot of people, despite a lot of people being quite negative about the whole performance, a lot of people understood Eddie Howe in doing what he did,
yeah.
and
It was
gave
for
the
a penalty,
justification.
but it
Gave the
was still-
justification of taking rather than bring Anderson on specifically for a penalty. A lot of them seen it as taking a young lad out of that
Well,
sort of
Howe said
pressure.
afterwards that he brought Anderson on for a penalty.
For a penalty, did
Yeah.
So we've managed to scrape together 8.5 minutes here. 8.5 minutes of analysis, which has largely been skirting over a lot of the negatives, which I've seen there was a lot of comments who don't really want to see negatives from the Geordie Jones.
It's hard to be positive sometimes, but hey,
I'm the
getting
most
through.
I'm the most positive Newcastle United person when I follow Newcastle United when there's stuff to be positive about. I'll shout from the rooftops when I see a player who's quality. I'll
You're
shout
very
from the rooftops.
emotional.
Yeah, possibly, and you only be what you are.
Speak your mind.
You speak your mind. I don't see any problem with that. I think we've got to see it as you see it, and a lot of times, if it's not good enough, you say it's not good enough. It's Newcastle aren't living up to their own high expectations at the moment. They're falling well short of them. So I'm certainly not going to sit here and blow smoke up that backside and say, "Oh, that was brilliant," and this was brilliant, because it wasn't. It was miles from being brilliant.
There were a heroic Martin Dubravka performance away from us. Absolutely, well, you in particular going absolutely
No, you wouldn't be the only one.
berserk. And a lot of fans, I think, great support from the Newcastle fans tonight, and they were in fine voice at full time, but I'm sure had
It would have been interesting
Blackburn.
to see in many ways how that would have played out, because we've seen jubilant, in spite of defeat, jubilant away followings in recent times. That's no criticism, it's just people come and have fun. Why not? Even if you see a bad performance, that's part of what being an away fan is about most of the time. So it would have been interesting to see had Newcastle been dumped out in the manner that they were. I'm glad we didn't see it, by the way, because I want us to be in that draw. I want us, as you say, to get a favourable draw, whatever a favourable draw may look like to this Newcastle United team.
well, something I was going to bring up. I think me and you talking about it yesterday, where it's always I might have been talking to someone else, one of my other colleagues, but if you want to get a draw, who do you want in the next round? Because if you've got Man City still in the competition, Liverpool still in the competition, your best chance of beating those teams is probably at St James's Park. So do you want them in the quarter-final, get them out the way? Or you think they won't win anyway?
To be fair, Newcastle's
To play like this against anybody, they're not going to.
Newcastle haven't won at St James's Park since last year.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about this home record.
It's hard. It's a really fair question,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
get
a
the
very
question.
difficult one to answer in this.
Because you
this
think
current run
any
of
team
form.
are just going to...
I think it needs a big improvement from Newcastle United against anybody. Newcastle,
no, you're
who's
right.
still in the competition, who went through tonight. Leicester, if Newcastle get Leicester at St James's Park,
You're not
they're going to have a right tough afternoon if they play anything like this, anything like they did last time they were at St James's Park, or the time before, Man City was the time before that. If they play like they did against Man City, against any of these teams, they'll get through. But the Man City and Villa performances are looking like outliers in the last 3 months, rather than the norm. The norm has not been this, by the way. I thought this was even lower than what we've seen in recent times. The norm has almost been the scrappy scraping through last-minute jobs against Luton, scraping through stuff at Nottingham Forest, same against Bournemouth at home. That's probably been the common denominator for Newcastle United in recent weeks. More of that, they're going to struggle against Wolves at the weekend, who I think have been fantastic. Gary O'Neill is probably one of the biggest surprises I've ever known in recent Premier League history. I think a lot of people had their nailed on to go down, especially the manner in which he was brought in. Wow, he's got them playing great stuff. The type of stuff that would cause midfields like ours a lot of problems.
Well,
Blackburn did that.
They're a better Nottingham Forest, and you think about how Nottingham Forest tore Newcastle on Boxing Day.
Yes.
Wolves have got better players. And if they have
strong midfield runners, strong wide players, they're a good side Wolves. And they're in that little battle with Newcastle United at the moment.
It's a big game.
Newcastle are in that little they're above 5-team battle at the moment where they're second bottom, really, of that little mini table, and Chelsea are below them with a game in hand. So that they're potentially going to be bottom of this mini table, and that's where it really matters. It's going to be tough to win an FA Cup with Manchester City. Manchester City, Liverpool, and Manchester United all still in the competition,
And Chelsea, if you want to.
and Chelsea.
If you want to count them.
So that's 4 of the traditional. The recent tradition, Big Six. It's going to be tough to win an FA Cup under those conditions. So realistically, the best chance Newcastle got of getting back into Europe and salvaging some sort of respectability. I mean, respectability is fine. They've probably only finished in the top half twice in the last, not for a decade, to be honest, in the Premier League. So a top half finish would be more than respectable. Given the levels that have been set in recent times, I think a level of respectability would be a top 8 finish. I think a 9 or 10 is disappointing, especially when you finished 11th. Eddie Howe finished 11th in his first season with how many games did he come in after?
26, something.
No,
Well, he had
so
27
10
games, so he had 11 games in, he would have been.
There you are. So he started 11 games behind him, and to finish in the same place with 300 million transfer spend would not be progress. I think anybody would be disappointed. I'm sure he will be too if that happens. So they need to win that little mini battle. I think that's probably the biggest battle between now and the end of the season. But the FA Cup is a nice distraction, even if it wasn't an enjoyable one this evening.
But hopefully the positivity of getting the quarterfinals in FA Cup can, again, try and look at positive. I can help galvanise the season, hopefully, because that FA Cup dream is still alive, if you like, if you want to call it an FA Cup dream.
90 minutes from Wembley.
And that keeps the season going, by the way. So, we were talking about the possibility there if Newcastle had gone out tonight. Can you imagine if Newcastle had gone out tonight? No FA Cup look forward to when you've got a league, 10, 11 games left to go and finish probably as high as 6th or 7th. It doesn't get the juices flowing in there.
Well, no,
for me anyway.
That's the thing about the Wembley thing at the moment. They're playing so poorly that even a trip to Wembley to face a Liverpool or a Manchester City at Wembley in a semi-final FA Cup doesn't fill me with particular joy. And I'm sorry if that makes it sound negative. It fills us with a lot of trepidation, actually, the way they're playing, because that could be dangerous.
But to go to Wembley, to Wembley,
and it would have been an element of progress, wouldn't it? That they've almost hit a consistency in cup competitions, which we hadn't had for a long time, isn't it?
I mean, realistically, they could have quite easily. There were Kieran Trippier properly connecting with a header away from a semi-final or potentially even a final.
There would have been Borough over 2 legs, and
then they would have been playing. Okay, Liverpool have Newcastle's number, but Liverpool kids.
At least we didn't get that embarrassment that Chelsea got of beating off Liverpool's kids. Right, I don't know. We've done 15 minutes. We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
we've got stuff to write. We need to get home.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
been a mixed video.
I made the decision not to book a hotel tonight, and Liam said, well, I better not go to extra time.
And it was delayed kick-off,
Delayed kick-off.
extra time and penalties.
That's
By the full house tonight.
midnight.
Which
now.
we could have predicted. We knew was going to happen the minute we decided not to book a hotel. And, as ever, the Geordie Journos are the last ones. We'll turn the lights out here at Ewood Park.
But the lights are still on in Newcastle season.
Woo!
Hey,
See you out, Dom.
come on, Tom.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that Geordie waffle, that busting positivity from Liam and Jordan and myself. And myself,
I'm glad you didn't single us out there. I felt like that's where you were going.
no, myself and Jordan will be back speaking to Eddie Howe on Friday ahead of the game back at St James's Park against Wolves on Saturday. So we'll see you there. But in the meantime, if you like what we do, please like, comment, share, ring the bell, do all that. And we'll see you next time on the Geordie Journos.